Man, I was so looking forward to making this flex video because even though Kurapika bringing a shovel to fight Uvogin, which was an amazing flex that I mentioned in Biggest Flexes in Anime 2, Biggest Flexes in Anime 7 features my favorite all-time flex in Hunter x Hunter, so I was awaiting this moment eagerly. On my last Biggest Flexes in Anime video, I asked for 75,000 likes, the biggest like goal I've ever set, and even though it managed to get like 60,000 likes in a day, for whatever reason, YouTube botted my channel and my views like dropped in half, so as of recording this video, it did not hit 75,000 likes, which I guess I could call a victory on my part, but that's kind of sad because I don't really deserve that win. So, 75,000 likes on this bad boy, and Biggest Flexes in Anime 8 will be out within a week. So leave a like and shiz, but mostly I'm making this video because I was really eager to talk about this Hunter x Hunter flex, and I'm making these videos because I like them. Granted, maybe at a faster clip than I would otherwise, thanks to y'all surpassing my like goals and flexing on me every single week. But let's jump into the meat and potatoes of the biggest flex in Hunter x Hunter. And then 7 more really awesome flexes that I have in store. But let's start with my boy, Killua Zoldyck. Now, this man flexes hard for a lot of the series. I mean, right after the York New arc, when no one really had any Nen attacks, he was like, well, I was thinking about it, and I can now use lightning. God damn, that was beautiful. But even from the first fight scene in the entire series that featured the guy, we knew how big of a flexer this beautiful, smug, mad lad really was. In the dungeon challenge of the Hunter exam, everyone had random fights with these different prisoners. Leorio played rock, paper, scissors, which is really good for Leorio because if he would have had to fight anyone, he would have lost because he's a total loser that only managed to win thanks to tagging along with the group, and because Killua ended up getting disqualified, giving him the title of Hunter. Not to harp on Leorio too much, he gets his ass saved by Gon in the opening of the show. Higashi knew exactly how much of a loser this guy is. Not my fault. Blame the creator. I hate when I insult characters I actually like. But Killua, unfortunately, poor Killua, had to fight someone to the death in order to proceed to the next round. Everyone's like, oh, Killua was this little guy. He's not really gonna do anything. And then in a moment, he zips past him and pulls his heart out, which, most people cannot survive without a heart. Not everyone's Dio from JoJo's, goddammit, and therefore his opponent dies. They didn't really realize he was this, like, trained assassin, ruthless killer man, but he is. But what's more, the guy smiles, and the even better moment of this entire goddamn scene is that after he's holding his heart in a bag, while it's still kind of beating because he pulled it out so fast, and his opponent dies with his hand outstretched, Killua, the gentleman and scholar, slowly walks up to the guy and drops his still beating dismembered heart into his cold dying hand, saying, oh, this is yours. Oh, this is yours? That's a freaking amazing flex! If I would do face cam videos, I'd be dabbing so damn hard right now. Killua is a killer, but not a thief. Get your morals straight. This man is a hero our generation does not deserve. I'm sorry, but that's not even the flex I wanted to talk about. No, it's not even the fact that he brought a skateboard to a jog and then left the skateboard to start jogging just to flex on the competition that he could use his skateboard. No, the absolute best flex in the entire Hunter x Hunter series is not even the fact that when Killua turned around in a hallway and killed 2 Chimera Ants, we had an entire episode of the narrator explaining why he decided to turn around at that moment and all the millions of things that were flying through Killua's synapses. No, it was the fact that in the middle of the Greed Island arc, things are heating up. The bomber is blowing people to shiz. The main characters need to collect cards and whatnot. All this important stuff is going on. The Phantom Troop is invading. Hisoka is doing whatever Hisoka does best. And Killua was like, guys, I'm gonna be gone for like a couple of minutes. Killua leaves. He goes to the Hunter exam. You know, the super prestigious thingo that basically no one passes and like everyone dies. He joins the Hunter exam where there's like another 500 goddamn people there. And since there is such a large turnout this year, the instructor for the Hunter exam's like, we're gonna need to take out like half of you. So before leaving this room, you guys all get into like this big squabble, and I'll only let you through to the actual test if you can take not only your own, but someone else's badge as well. You need 2 badges to begin the exam. And he's like cackling to himself, this'll take like 3-4 hours. This way I get to only deal with half the entries. Man, I'm so cool. And then like 5 minutes later, all the fighting stops. And he's like, wait, what just happened? Then Killua comes out with a massive bag of every single other contestant's badge thingo and says, oh, I'm sorry it took a full 5 minutes. It took a while to gather all the badges. This man flexed on the competition so hard, they let him pass the goddamn test without even taking the test. Not only was he the only winner of that Hunter exam, not only did he go beyond what he needed to do by beating up everyone, not only was he apologizing that it took so long to gather the badges, mind you, not actually beat the opponents. But he flexed so hard, the entire year's exam was canceled where he was the only one that passed. This is a super prestigious thing. It took our protagonists the full first arc of the show, which was 25 episodes, to become hunters. And this mad lad did it on a half a Sunday while he was doing a hell of a lot of other much more important stuff. This was a master flex by one of the best of boys, and I cannot get over how amazing and satisfying it is every single time I see it, and I've seen it a hell of a lot of times. He's in the crowd, and he sees someone he knows, and the other guy's like relieved, oh good, I'm glad someone's gonna be joining me on this year's hunter exam. And he's like, yeah, sorry man. I hate to do this to you because we're friends, but, And he proceeds to destroy everyone else in the entire exam. Very cool, Killua. Very cool. Next flex. If this next flex does not single-handedly get you to watch Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic, the Kingdom of Magic, and the Adventures of Sinbad, I don't know what will, because it's a fantastic show that goes under the radar far too much. Sinbad is the goddamn biggest flexer in anime, and I take pride in saying that. Not because it's accurate, but because it gets attention. In fact, that's pretty much what most YouTubers do these days when they say, the biggest challenge ever! To be quite honest, it's probably not the biggest challenge ever, but hey, whatever goes! Let's talk about Sindobado from Magi. Now this man is beautiful boy, flexes constantly whenever he's on screen. I will name a few, and then I will name my final, far favorite flex of them all. And I will also not spoil any manga shiz, because there has to be a third season of this masterpiece. It saddens me every day that I think about it and realize that it doesn't have a third season. The first time Sinbad is met by the protagonist Aladdin, he's sitting there naked in the woods doing his own thing. Now, when I'm trying to introduce a completely badass character that the entire fan base reveres entirely, well, sitting in the bushes naked is not exactly my first way to go about it, but oh, would I have been wrong to change anything about this brilliant introduction. We don't really know anything about him, and then you realize he's, you know, Sinbad, ruler of the Seven Seas Alliance, essentially the world power, tied with one other guy, and you know I'm serious because they said the world power, not the world power! Although, now that I've said that, it sounds way cooler than the world power, so I will be using that from now on. But the beauty goes further. In Magi, the actual power system depends very much on the metal vessels you hold and the djinn that you have captured along your travels and dungeons and whatever. Now, Sinbad is an absolute mad lad, because most really powerful dudes, they had one djinn. Yeah? The leader of the Ko Empire, known as like one of the strongest people alive, this mad lad has 3 djinns, which is really cool. Sinbad has 7 djinns! And I cannot express enough how goddamn badass that alone is. The fact that this guy is only using 1 djinn power is in itself flexing. But this guy is naked. In other words, he has no djinn. All of his metal vessels are gone. But he doesn't care in the slightest, because without any power, he bodies metal vessel opponents no problem. Aladdin and Ugo are fighting with the Ko Empire, and one of the princesses with a water djinn is like freaking broken. She wrecks Ugo. She's really powerful. And Sinbad, with no djinns, buck naked on a spiritual level, just slaps her. This man is a hell of a flexer. He gets bitten by this venomous snake thing, which cursed him and whatever, so he can't really use his Magoi, and it's like making him sick and whatever. So he sends Taku, Alibaba, Aladdin, and some other twats to a dungeon where there's probably this really powerful healing djinn thingo. They want them to get the djinn, harness that power, bring it back, so perhaps they'll be able to cure Sinbad, because, oh, poor Sinbad, he can't even fight the way he is. There are invaders into his territory, and only his, like, servant guys are able to fight, not even him himself. Oh, it's so sad. Meanwhile, extremely bad dude is flying around, and Sinbad teleports, because for some reason he could teleport also, because why not, to meet him in midair. Of course, he knew exactly where he was. Of course, he was able to teleport to that pinpoint location, but the guy's like, Sinbad, very cool of you to come. Very cool, because you are poisoned by Thingo, and you cannot use any of your powers, which is why you have your servants defending your country, and which is why you sent all these guys to get you that djinn. I know that you're powerless. And then Sinbad, like, cackles, and he uses this ridiculously powerful wind djinn that we've never seen before this, and he completely annihilates him because of a hell of a lot of really badass things that don't make sense out of context, and the guy was playing the whole time. He could have defended his country single-handedly. He could have destroyed everyone without needing this cure whatsoever, because later he's just like, oh, for some reason, the sickness went away on its own. Sickness went away on its own, my butt. This dude is basically immortal, and he sent them on this crazy journey as a test for them. He didn't need it whatsoever. This guy flexes on everyone constantly. There's a conversation going on, and they want it private. This is manga. So they have to leave the entire Sindria country because they know Sinbad Sinbad has attached to nature and can see and hear through every living being's eyes and ears in the entire goddamn country, so there is nowhere out of earshot of this guy's prowess. Sinbad is the ultimate flexer. But my favorite flex of Sinbad's is in The Adventures of Sinbad. It's a prequel to the Magi story where Sinbad rose to power. At this point, Sindria didn't even exist. Sinbad single-handedly starts an empire and makes it a world power through his journey. Again, the anime didn't get very far, so it will not spoil any manga. But along his journeys, not only is he the first dungeon capture, but he's the first person to Jin equip. This means nothing to you if you haven't seen it, but it means Zawardo to you if you have seen it. Now this guy's fighting an opponent. This opponent's like Knight King guy, and he's like, oh, I am the Knight King. No one will ever defeat me because of my ultimate spear shield strategy, which was really awesome and whatever. And Sinbad's like, okay, I understand you have a very indestructible looking barrier, but let me show you something. And he grabs the guy. He jumps up to like the top of a mountain, basically. And the guy's like, yes, we may be on the top of a mountain, but I have a shield, and you will never defeat me. And Sinbad's like, okay. And then he uses Baradak Psycho, which is, you know, it's a little lightning bolt, because I guess we're following the theme of lightning users so far. First talking about Killua, now talking about Sinbad. And Sinbad doesn't point this lightning attack at this king that was a total dick to him. No, no, no! It's far more effective to point it at a nearby mountain pass and blow the entire thing to smithereens. Yes, until now I was talking about things that can be construed as flexes, but this is a literal flex. He is flexing on this king just to say, look at my awesome power. Now join my alliance and help make me take over the world. Many people want world peace or whatever. Not many people actually go ahead to put their butt on the line to do it. Sinbad is an amazing backstory, and he is a fantastic character with twists and turns in his character development. And this guy's like, I know the best way to make world peace. Take over the goddamn thing, and my subjects will love me as I do it. And I will flex on everyone along the way. Please watch Magi. Next flex! I guess why not? Sticking with the theme of lightning for now. Zenitsu from Demon Slayer, otherwise known as Lightning Pussy, technically kind of does flex. I mean, the guy is a coward and he's screaming and shrieking for most of the time he's on screen. He also does not seem to do anything of value while his friends are around, and he only actually steps up to the plate absolutely alone. Everyone thinks he's useless, but in the end of the day, he's potentially the strongest of the lot of them when he gets serious. But what's even funnier is this guy's most serious moments are like when he's sleeping and stuff. He flexes on demons, annihilating these high-level, powerful, man-eating beasts in a split second while sleeping, which I guess technically would count as a flex. He isn't per se a flexer, but I feel like the complete extremes from someone who goes from cowardly, pants-pissing, useless dude running around in circles trying desperately to survive to the goddamn light-speed Terminator, I think that's flex-worthy. Next flex! So I'm only gonna talk about this one relatively briefly, relatively being a keyword, because it's a lightning flex and I want to talk about more lightning shiz. I'm so weird like that. But unfortunately, I have all the power here, so, you know, you can't stop me, and I feel very cool about myself. And I'm gonna be talking about Kaido. I have talked about Kaido in the past in these very flex videos, talking about how he flexes on the entire world when they capture him and he's like trying to commit suicide, but oh, he can't because he's too powerful to even kill himself. Oh, how sad. But this lightning-based ability I want to be talking about is manga spoilers, which I did not reach last time I talked about Kaido. So therefore, feel free to skip for like a minute or whatever if you don't want to hear it, if you're just watching the anime. If you haven't even started One Piece, this won't hit you all that hard, and I suggest you watch One Piece even though it's very, very, very long. It's something you will not regret. That is, unless you're watching this during exam seasons, because it will probably cause you to fail all of your tests because it takes up the entire day, every day, once you start getting into it. Sorry in advance, but here is the Kaido flex I want to be talking about, and you already know what I'm talking about. Or do you? Yes, you do. Or do you? Yes, you do. Or do you? When Luffy picks a fight with Kaido, which was probably not the smartest thing he's ever done, he runs up to this giant dragon that just basically launched the nuke at the mountainside that his crew was on. He punched it in the face and was like, oh man, I'm actually cool. He goes into the Gear 4th mode thingo that so far was never actually been defeated, let's be honest, and even when it has, he manages to re-equip it and kick butt. Luffy pretty much never loses fights in One Piece, so every time it does, it really hits hard. Luffy's like the up-and-coming Emperor of Zawardo. He just picked a fight with Big Mom's Empire. This guy is big news. He's here in this arc to hopefully beat Kaido by the end of it. No one expected him to clash with Kaido in the first quarter of the arc. And let's just say it didn't look so good for poor Luffy. Kaido is in big fat dragon mode, right? Kaido's drunk, right? So what does Kaido do? He undoes big dragon mode to go into regular dude mode and uses thunderclap at the speed of lightning. Maybe slight hyperbole, but it's his hyperbole, not mine. He flies up to Luffy, whacks him with his spiked mace thing, and Luffy has been knocked unable to battle. Every Pokemon referee history ever would have noticed that he was unable to battle with just one hit. This never happened to Luffy in the entire goddamn series, especially when Luffy was actually picking up steam as he is right now. Not only does Luffy rarely lose, not only is this the very beginning of the arc, not only has Luffy just been named an emperor, and not only is his purpose of coming here to beat Kaido, but Kaido didn't just beat him, but he beat him in his weaker form while drunk with one hit. And he doesn't even perceive Luffy as a threat at this point. He's like, let's take Luffy to jail to see if he'll eventually become a member of the Beast Pirates. He doesn't off him. He doesn't say, oh, you are too weak to even use my full power on. No, he doesn't even perceive him as a threat enough to leave him to die. In the prison, they basically nourish him back to health so he can hopefully join them as, like, I don't know, some sub-tier commander. This was a big flex. But what was even a bigger flex, in my personal opinion, is when he comes face to face with Big Mom, and Big Mom is there with the intention to kill him. I mean, at least so it would seem. Big Mom was tied up with sea stone handcuff shiz, and she couldn't use really any of her power. In fact, she was completely immobile, and Kaido was there right before her. If Kaido was actually planning on killing her, then the best move would have just kind of been to off her right then and there. But then he says to subordinates, uncuff her. And they're like, oh, what's actually going on? Are they gonna make an alliance or something? They uncuff Big Mom, and then Kaido fights with her. Oh, baby! That is a flex. He is up against an emperor that is here in this country knowing that she would probably get into a fight with him. Now, he has her all tied up and whatever, but he just charges into the fight the hard way. That is a big flex. And with that, next flex, still following the lightning theme, this time from Naruto, the 4th Raikage. Now, the 3rd Raikage has some big flexes as well. I mean, this guy tanks tailed beast bombs, and the only attack that can actually pierce his skin is his own attack, which, quite frankly, gives him the ability to flex like no other. Oh, I was using 4 fingers, which means my lightning spear attack isn't as sharp. If you want me to really try, I'll only use 3 fingers. Oh, you were able to block my 3-finger technique? Well, if I just use 2 fingers, it becomes even sharper. But oh, you don't want me to use 1 finger? If I use 1 finger, I'll completely annihilate. Okay, I'll use 1 finger. Now you're toast. Yeah, this guy flexes a lot. But I honestly think the 4th Raikage wins in the flex department because of this one scene alone that I think is absolutely fantastic and one of the biggest flexes in the series. This man did a lot of flex. He tries to play tag with Ninetales Naruto, and he also arm wrestles with Tsunade, the physically strongest character in the series, arguably. Not really arguably, guy would win, but aside from him, arguably. I think his biggest flex ever was when Sasuke was invading the 5 Kage Summit, and he was really pissed at Sasuke at this point because, well, Sasuke, it seems, killed Killer Bee, but Killer Bee was secretly flexing on everyone all along, and he was just like, oh, sick, they think I'm dead. I can now just, like, do poetry and whatever. The absolute mad lad. I'll be talking about him on a future occasion because he also fondled Sasuke a little bit, which was beautiful to the eyes. I don't know. I just happen to love it whenever Sasuke gets beaten up. Not that I hate him as a character or anything, but I just love watching him get his ass handed to him. It's so fun. So, the 4th Raikage, and mind you, this is like the first time we're meeting him, goes to fight Team Taka and completely annihilates Team Taka. Jugo goes into like this whole crazy mode and he bitch slaps Jugo to no tomorrow. But the biggest flex ever was when Sasuke is growing in strength. He uses like this quasi-Susanoo armor that no one can break through. And he also has this Amaterasu that he's controlling with Infernal style to use as a wall. And in case you didn't know, Amaterasu is this inextinguishable flame that whenever it touches something, it will continue to consume it until there is nothing left. Now, it moves almost at the speed of sight. Like whatever Sasuke looks at ignites in this crazy flame. And the 4th Raikage is dodging it. Yes, I think that is a big flex in its own right. He doesn't straight out attack him, he just dodges Amaterasu for a while for Sasuke to realize, oh my god, when I was up against Amaterasu, I was totally shy. But the biggest flex in this entire fight, hands down, was when Sasuke was like kind of proud of himself. You know, powerful Susanoo armor, surrounded by a wall of Amaterasu that'll burn everyone to a crisp. And just because the Raikage was pissed off at Sasuke, the Raikage bitch slaps him through the Susanoo armor, cracking it, and also lighting his own arm on fire. And then without a second thought, he happily chops his arm off because he just wanted to get the satisfaction of bitch slapping that little asshole. And it was worth it for him. And then Darui's like, Lord Raikage, your right arm is gone. He's like, don't worry, I consider you my right arm. All's good, it was worth it. Master flex right there. All the credit goes to the 4th Raikage. He could use a slightly better mustache in my personal opinion. Lord Twigo would not be impressed. But that aside, a flex for the goddamn ages. Next flex that happens to also be electricity based Laxus from Fairy Tail, my personal favorite character in the series. This guy gets a tremendous amount of character development from the beginning, hating Fairy Tail, eventually rejoining Fairy Tail, and to be honest, he has made the collective fan base tear up on multiple occasions. This guy is a boss. His first real introduction to the series was when he challenged Fairy Tail to a battle, where if he would win, he would take over the guild. Even though he is a member, he wanted all the power, and he did not believe his grandfather was doing a great job at it. For a lot of personal baggage stuff, Laxus is an actually really well, intricately created character, even though he's from Fairy Tail. Even though I hate to say that, because Fairy Tail is actually really great sometimes, and I'm the only YouTuber that praises it, but goddamn it deserves it sometimes, despite the cheesy stuff. In any case, when Laxus challenges Fairy Tail, the entire Fairy Tail, mind you, to a battle type thing, where he challenges the entire guild with only 3 of his cronies. He is considered in the top tier, up there with Urza and Mystigan, for the strongest wizard in the guild. Also, Makarov is extremely powerful, and also I'm not including Guild Arts, because Guild Arts is never around when you need him. But the point is, him challenging the entire guild and giving them a run for their money for a ton of episodes until he's finally put in his place is a mad flex. Him coming back to save them after leaving the guild is a mad flex. Him taking on one of the 10 wizard saints one-on-one during the Grand Magic Games is a mad flex. Some demon guy releases Bane particles into the city that if you breathe them in, it gives you excruciating pain until you can't stand the pain anymore and give up on living and die, which by the way sucks balls. This total Chad, with his really powerful lungs that he uses for, you know, lightning dragon roars and whatever, he inhales the entire cloud of Bane particles that was supposed to infect the entire city. And this one big-lunged, zappy boy sucked all of them into himself, and he was living with that excruciating, death-driving pain for over a year until he actually managed to get cured. This is the stubbornness of an absolute mad lad. But my all-time favorite Laxus flex in the entirety of Fairy Tail, and one of the best moments in the entire Fairy Tail, was during the Grand Magic Games when he was up against an enemy guild called Raventail. Since no one really cares about the family politics, in a nutshell, there's Makarov, the grandpa and leader of Fairy Tail. His son was a really bad dude, so he kicked him out, and he started his own guild, Raventail, which is very pissed off at Fairy Tail. His son is Laxus, who's currently with Fairy Tail and had a very troubling childhood, which was really well done, but we don't need to get into that here. Point is, in the Grand Magic Games, one of the rounds happened to be Laxus versus a member of Raventail. You know, no one really heard of before, some random dude, but Raventail does not exactly play by the rules. Once the match started, they cast an illusion on the entire battlefield that their guild was still sitting there nicely and peacefully observing the spectacle. And they also cast an illusion on the playing field that it looked like Laxus was one-on-one fighting this opponent, and Laxus was holding his own but slowly losing. In the meantime, that is only what the entire arena, as well as the entire world watching the tournament, saw. What was actually taking place, while no one can perceive it, was the entire Raventail guild, including Laxus's father, who was, by the way, hyped up as a extremely powerful wizard, all ganged up together on Laxus to teach him a lesson for disobeying them. And their plan in this entire tournament, because this is their first time entering, is to rip up Fairy Tail from the inside out as revenge. Each of these wizards have been wronged by Fairy Tail for whatever reason in the past, and they've banded together for this very moment. So they all together attacked Laxus in a 6-on-1 battle, where not only are they all powerful individually, but the leader himself is known to be a force to be reckoned with. Laxus, though, is no pushover. This absolute mad lad takes on all of them. They say, "Oh, you're gonna run away?" And Laxus is like, "Oh, hell no. You just gave me the ability to swat all of you at the same time. I was so sad I was only able to fight one member of your guild. Bring it on." They all attack him, and in this epic battle that no one in the world is able to witness because they just perceive a boring one-on-one fight, Laxus completely annihilates the entire Raventail, leaving them twitching flesh bags on the ground. And once they're all unconscious, the illusion breaks away, and they were watching some boring one-on-one fight, and now, poof, the entire Raventail guild is unconscious and quivering at the feet of Laxus, the ultimate Chad. And they're like, "Oh my god, what just happened? I didn't say anything, and this is so weird." And Laxus was like trying to play it cool and pulling a Zorro with one of those, "Oh, nothing happened" type lines. He doesn't take credit for anything. He just is satisfied with himself and the actions he personally took right then and there, and he smugly walks off the battlefield, never to hear of Raventail ever again. This is amazing! One of the best flexes by far. The satisfaction he had that he was able to beat all of them at the same time without repercussions was beautiful and so satisfying. And people question why I like the Fairy Tail Grand Magic Games arc so much. God damn it, it's full of just amazing moments and character scenes. It gets you to fall in love with the entire guild. But anyway, I said my Fairy Tail piece. Moving on, next flex! And it's also also sort of electricity-based because machines need electricity to function, and I'm talking about the greatest machine duelist in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, Kaiser Truesdale from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Now, this is SWAHAHAHA's personal favorite anime moment of all time, and honestly, I respect it entirely. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX gets a lot of hate because some of the early arcs aren't that well put together, and Jaden is an annoying twat. Kaiser, though, coined the term absolute madlab. Every duel this guy's in, it makes you just respect him more. And also, he does a hell of a lot of flexing. His go-to first move is, I use Power Bond to fuse 3 Cyber Dragons to make Cyber End Dragon. Its attack also doubles, and it also has piercing damage, and you only have 4,000 life points, so I attack whatever the hell monster you have, and you lose. That's his go-to first turn. You're used to, like, you know, Yugi, like, I fuse Baphomet with the King of Mythical Beasts to summon the Flying Mythical Beast. That's got nothing on Cyber End Dragon with 8,000 attack. Now, some of his greatest flexes throughout the series was when Jaden dueled him for the first time, and Jaden was undefeated at this point. He beat professors, he beat, like, evil overlords. No one stood a chance against Jaden. And then Jaden was absolutely demolished by Zane when they dueled. Not only that, but after Zane started using Cyber Darks, which are not the greatest cards ever, he dueled Cyrus, his little brother, and he didn't need to do this. But Cyber Dark Dragon's ability gives him an extra 100 attack for every card in your graveyard. So he managed to get some card that allowed him to choose how many cards in his deck he wanted to discard to his graveyard to make Cyber Dark stronger. And he only needed to discard like 5 or 10 if I recall correctly. But he discards his entire deck to the graveyard for this one attack. Now granted, if Cyrus would have had some sort of trap or whatever to stall this, Kaiser would have lost. But Kaiser knew he was gonna win, so just to flex on little brother, he discarded his entire deck to the graveyard to make his dragon all the more terrifying. But the all-time best Zane duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is easily Zane versus Dark Jesse in the Isekai arc of GX. This Isekai arc, by the way, is crazy underrated. It's actually amazing, and no one talks about it because it's hard to sit through that much of GX to get there if you really hate Jaden, which a lot of people understandably do. Now, this duel has a lot of twists and turns, and he's up against this really overpowered opponent while he's suffering from, like, heart conditions and stuff. Things don't look good for my boy. But he fuses 5 monsters to summon Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. And once summoned, every time his monster attacks, he set it up in a way that it would inflict 400 damage to his opponent because his opponent has Dark Rainbow Dragon, which is extremely powerful and whatever. And he just painstakingly goes to the length of explaining, my Chimeratech Fortress Dragon can attack once for every fusion material monster. I decided to fuse 5 monsters to summon. Every time he attacks, you will end up losing 400 life points. You only have 1,900 life points. So now, I will attack the first time. Okay, that was 400 damage. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. I will attack the second time. Another 400 damage. Very sad, Jesse. Very sad. And now, and he proceeded to slowly and painstakingly explain why he had 5 attacks, and each attack would do just enough to finish him off. Jesse managed to survive it for whatever reason, but the end of the duel is truly the biggest flex in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's when Zane knew he was gonna lose, but he just wanted to terrify Dark Jesse and shake him up a hell of a lot. And shake him up he did. Granted, he did lose, but he managed to get his monster to like 16,000 attack, doubling it a few times at the end there, just to terrify him by how much the difference of power they had things gone slightly differently. It did terrify Dark Jesse, and even though this was a massive flex because there was no purpose aside from flexing on him, it was too sad of a moment for me to be the hype guy. This was Zane's final duel, and he did lose, but the flex will echo throughout history as one of the greatest flexes of all time. And to quote my boy SWAHAHAHA, Zane versus Yubel-possessing Jesse is his favorite fight in anime, and as I've said, I respect it entirely. As a nearing climax of an amazing arc with amazing characters and emotional highs, end off with this massive flex that terrified this being of darkness to its core, I think it definitely deserved a spot here. And it's sort of lightning based because he uses machines, and most machines are powered by electricity. Hell yeah! And the final flex of this episode is also electricity based. I did not mean to do this until I was like halfway through the script, and I was already dealing with like 3 lightning dudes, and I was like, hell yeah, I have 8 lightning flexes I could do. It's the fact that Ash never evolved Pikachu. Let's be real here. Ash flexes on everyone. He's not my favorite character. I do not consider him the flex type because he's always like noble and must accomplish his dreams. Come on, Pikachu. Shut up, Ash. Win a goddamn tournament and then look snarky. Sorry. But every time he goes up against like this massive opponent, it's gonna be Pikachu that saves the day. The guy beat a Regice with his Pikachu when he beat the Battle Frontier. Whenever his opponent sends out like some massive ground type and he has like 4 water types and a grass type in his party, his first thought is gonna send out Pikachu because maybe if he's absent enough, it'll die. This man flexes on everyone. He uses Pikachu against anything. He still manages to take victories, whether it's against legendaries or ground types. He managed to teach it Iron Tail, which is a move it cannot learn, by the way, to be super effective on rock types, and he never even evolved it to boost its stats. It's a stupid little mouse flexing on everyone. And then Snivy from Black and White came along, and I lost my entire sheer little bit of respect I had for Ash. Very cool, Black and White. Very cool. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the biggest flexes in anime 7. Biggest flexes in anime 8 will be out within a week, provided that this video gets 75,000 likes. If you can accomplish this one, I'll assume you failed the last one as well, and it's not a YouTube bug that cut my channel views in half. I don't know why that happened. It's pretty disappointing, assuming it's one's livelihood, you know? But hey, I guess I'm thankful for what I have enough to not completely bitch about it. Although technically right now I am bitching about it, so I guess I'm not that thankful. Speaking of not being thankful, thank you all for watching. Extremely cool. Leave a like, subscribe for future anime analysis or sarcasm or flex videos. Link in the description to my Twitter, to my merch, to my Patreon, and to my Twitch. Feel free to mosey around all them websites to help out a brother. Have yourselves the most wonderful evening, and remember to watch Magi and stay weird, fam.